When I was 3 years old, my parents decided to move from a house in Waterkloof to a house just outside Pretoria East. We were fortunate enough to have a tennis court at home. So naturally, me and my brother played tennis. A lot of tennis. My one sister later joined, but she wasn't much of what you might really call competition. One thing you notice when playing on a hard court surface is that the fine fibers on the tennis ball tend to rub off on the court and leaving a clear, distinct mark. I played so much tennis that in fact, as I increased the marks on the tennis court, my teachers decreased the marks on my report card. Nevertheless, my father still decided that me and my brother should take part in tennis championships over the school holidays. Some of those players were playing like pros. In one particular championship, a guy by the name of Tabong was playing. I still remember his name and surname for a very good reason. Tabong beat every single player he played against. With my luck, guess what? I had to play Tabong in my final match on the main court even. Look, I said to myself, since it was going to be on a Sunday, at least I cannot lose by that many points. And besides, tennis is such a forgiving game. If you don't score any points, you don't get any points, but they don't subtract any points for you either. Tennis is like life. You've been born, you've been handed a racket, you've met your match, and now it's time to play. As you walk out onto the court, there's the crowd. In the arena, there will always be people cheering for you to succeed, and others will be cheering for you to fail. Yet they do not have any skin in the game, and they are not playing in your shoes. So they cannot judge you. I will let the former US President Theodore Roosevelt speak. It is not the critic who counts. It is not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles, or how the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man in the arena whose face is marred by blood and sweat and dust. Finally, you stand ready. The net in the middle of the court serves an important purpose. It not only points out it's not only a stumbling block, but it points out where our responsibilities begin and end, what we can do and what we can't do. If it weren't for the net, then pretty soon we'd be playing against ourselves in an act of self-sabotage. Sometimes you're playing a really long rally, and the ball clips the net and falls just over on the other side, making it impossible for your opponent to get to the ball. And you win the point. Woohoo! Yay! You shout as you win the point. Some call it luck, fate, or chance. Business people call that net profit. Sometimes, well, mostly always, we have every intention of hitting the ball right in the middle of the racket. But then the ball flies off into the crowd, or it flies up into the air and still manages to fall on the other side of the net inside the court. We should be thankful, therefore, that life do come with some strings attached. Sometimes you're playing your best match. You're having a ball. But then, all of a sudden, a bunch of volleys come your way and even a backhand while life is at it. And you lose the point. The point is, how we handle a situation often depends on our ability to regulate our emotions. I could see that Tabong was becoming increasingly frustrated because he was hitting the ball so much harder and more accurately than I was. I saw it as a threat, but because he was hitting the ball so much harder than I was, all I had to do was simply use the pace of the ball and return it in a slightly different direction. Resilience works in the same way. Sometimes when things become really tough, it's then that we are able to deal with things much more gracefully than we initially anticipated. Sometimes how we frame a situation can make all the difference. Do you say to yourself, there's a 20% chance of losing with this, or there's an 80% chance of winning? Many of you here are fighting for other people's money. Do you tell them that there's a 20% chance of gaining something, or there's a 80% chance of not losing? There's a big difference. So with that match against Tabong almost 25 years ago, I learned a lot of things. It turned out to be one of my dad's proudest moments ever. I was metaphorically and physically meeting my match that day. Now that you have met your match, how will you serve? With that, Madam Toastmaster, let's play.